I'm sure you know the rule of threes, like you can't go 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, etc. People put way too much stock in these numbers and totally miss the real things, by the way. First off, even as a doctor, I'm going to tell you about the real numbers when it comes to the rules of three. It's not what you think they are, but even more so, this video is going to show you what really happens in those situations and the real numbers and what we really need to prepare for, because it gets much worse than that. First, 3 minutes without air. For brain damage to occur, 3 minutes, maybe even closer to 5 minutes without air. And obviously, in that situation, there's really not a whole lot you can prepare for in that situation, except prepare your family or your friends to know CPR, for example. But there's lots of things that could actually happen and put you in that situation, like drowning, suffocating into avalanche, etc. The biggest one we look at for preppers is like toxic fumes and gases. That's huge, because that is something we could prepare for, like by having a gas mask with the canisters that might help. But the question is, if we're talking about 3 minutes, do you don your mask? Do you practice and put it on the correct way? Do you hold your breath until that happens? Did you know that most people, by the way, survive plane crashes? And I'm talking about not just little Cessnas. I think more people die in the Cessnas, the small ones, than the big ones. We're talking about jumbo jets. Most people in jumbo jets survive the crash. It blows my mind. The problem is, smoke inhalation usually kicks in within 2 or 3 minutes, and majority of people who survive the crash die within 2 or 3 minutes because they can't get away from the plane. I mean, I don't think you're going to be carrying a gas mask through TSA for that situation. You can't have a gas mask everywhere. So this 3 minutes of air isn't always the easiest thing to do. The best thing you can do, especially in the airplane scenario, but all of these, is prepare and train and drill. Practice, practice, practice. Know your facts ahead of time. And that's what I do, by the way. When we just went to the world's competition in Phoenix, which I've been talking about, exciting, my 13-year-old son went with us, and it's the first time he's flown. Most of my kids have flown, but it's weird. 13, it finally took him to get to the point where he could actually fly for the first time. And so I decided to go ahead and have that talk with him. You know, he's a 13-year-old. Let's have the talk being 13 years old. So we have to see what's going to happen here. Of course, not the talk you're thinking of. It's what happens to the plane crashes, my son. And I have that talk with him. Every single time we fly, I talk about this to my family and say, listen, if it crashes, you need listen to the flight attendant now. You need to get away from the plane, get away from the plane. And the ones who actually survive the plane crashes, who like live the next few minutes, are the ones who crashed. Oh, wow, I'm still alive, and were able to get away from the plane. That's the key. You need to trail, drain, prepare, and know ahead of time what to do. Then there's 3 hours without shelter. Obviously, we're looking at harsh, worst-case scenario conditions, snow, or even rain, which will obviously mess you up quite a bit, chill you to the bone and cause hypothermia. Beautiful day outside. It's not going to be 3 hours, obviously. So there's a huge gray area here, and having a shelter is obviously what you should be looking for. But by the way, the best shelter you could ever make, you're already in it. It's called your home. There's so many people, and they're kind of like have this survivalist mindset, which I'm not knocking survivalism in itself, but they're like, I can't wait to bug out. That's the last resort. Your home is your castle. This is the best shelter you can ever make. It's already there for you. It's fantastic. Now, if something's going to happen where you're going to die in the shelter, sure, have plans to bug out, but you should really do everything you can to try to stay in your castle. In your home, it's not going to be 3 hours, obviously. It's going to be years or decades. You can live in your home indefinitely, obviously, and it's just fine. But what about a tent? What about a sleeping bag? What about one of those emergency blankets, or like the emergency sleeping bag I modeled? That's a whole different story. I mean, a heavier sleeping bag will last longer. A tent will keep some stuff in your head. The emergency ones are for emergencies. They will not last, obviously. We're looking at 3 days by any means, or even more. They're not for long term, and 3 days is long term for those, by the way. But there's no defined number when it talks about a shelter. There are certain things you need to have in place before the shelter, probably. But if you're in a very harsh situation like winter and snowing outside, the shelter has to be your first thing, very first, and get there very quickly. So I would know how to prepare a shelter just in case you do have to end up in the woods. I mean, if you're bugging out, I'll say it again, don't bug out. But if you do, your plan should not be, hey, I'm just going to go in the forest over there. That's not bugging out. That's called death. You need to actually have a strategic location you're going to go to. Train, learn how to build shelters, and be ready. And crap hits the fan, anything can happen. 3 days without water. Do not, and I mean it, do not listen to this advice. As a physician, I'm going to tell you right now, 3 days without water is not a goal you should be shooting for. Water is so vital. And so it depends on, as far as if you have shelter or water, which one you're going to shoot for first. If it's a nice day, go for the water. Shelter, obviously, you don't want to have hypothermia. So in a bad day like winter, yeah. So here's the thing. You can survive 3 days without water, but you don't need 3 days to start feeling the effects. 3 days is like the end game when it comes to water survival. Because here's the thing. You don't get water just from drinking water. We get water from our food and stuff. So we're talking about a situation where there's no intake at all, and in 3 days, you're dead. Think of it that way. You'll feel the effects, by the way, in just a matter of 12 hours. Not even a day. A half a day, you'll start feeling the effects. It may not be huge effects or horrible. You'll have like dry mouth, more concentrated, darker urine, etc. Back in the survival days, people would put a penny in the mouth. It wouldn't make them have more water, but it would cause their salivary glands to secrete and at least get rid of the dry mouth until they finally get some water. But you have that dry mouth for a reason. Hey, here's a warning. You need water now. And I mean, even like right now in everything happy, I work out a lot, and there's some times where even though I drink a lot of water, I'm like, no, my mouth is kind of dry. Oh, that's your first warning sign, by the way. Dry mouth, think of this the rest of your life. If you're ever like, my mouth's kind of dry, oh, time to drink water. That's your first warning sign. Because now if we go 24 hours, one day, only 1 day without having water in there, your blood volume already starts dropping. Headaches, dizziness, fatigue, decreased cognitive function. You're going to make it so you can't think very well. Sorry about that. You're going to make it so you can't think very well. You're going to make it so you're just not quite with it. All of this while you're looking for water. Think about that. So you're not going to be like 24 hours, okay, start drinking again. It's a water fast. You should not do that, by the way. But in that situation, you're looking for water because you don't have enough of it. Just 24 hours, that's it. 48 hours, 2 days. Oh my gosh. Your body is doing everything it can to try to conserve water. Everything. At this point, your urine is extremely concentrated and your kidneys, practically speaking, are shutting down. I mean, that sounds really bad. They'll start up again once you drink water, but they're doing everything it can to retain every drop of water possible. Severe thirst, obviously. Low blood pressure. Again, this is only 2 days, by the way. We're not even at 3 days yet. Racing heart rate, nausea, confusion. All of this while you're looking for water still. Think about this. The one thing you need to do is go find water. And because you don't have water, it's hindering your ability to go find water. You're in a dangerous path, my friend. 72 hours, 3 days, now you're at your limit. That's the thing, is you don't ever want to even come close to there. Start having dry mouth, time to drink water. I'm a little thirsty today. Warning sign, go drink water now. 72 hours, major confusion, delirium, even hallucinations, major vomiting and diarrhea, which exacerbates the problem because it makes it so you're losing more water. Major organ strain leading to organ failure, in other words, death. A horrible, painful, vomiting, diarrhea, horrible death, mind you. And this obviously happens faster if it's hot weather. Just a note, crap hits the fan, you're going to be working harder outside. 3 days with water? Yeah, right. Good luck with that. You're not going to make 3 days with water. Don't even think about that one. Water is by far more important than just 3 days. I'm talking about you better secure a water source as soon as possible. Need to do a shelter first? Because it's wintertime? Sure, I get it. But then immediately you need to start replenishing water, period. If it's nice outside, jump right to the water. Go for it. Not so nice, shelter first. But water is a serious close second in that situation. Both of those can kill you quickly. And 3 weeks without food. The biggest threat in this situation without having food is not having energy. Think about that. Listen, we can go incredibly well as humans without ever eating carbohydrates ever again, period. We do not have to have carbs in our diet, period. And I have people argue this. I'm sorry, you're not a physician. You need to research this. That's what the whole thing about carnivore, keto diets, even paleo is all about, is let's cut out the carbs because carbs are why our nation is obese. Period. End of story. There is no arguing about that. So here's the thing. We can eat all the proteins and essential fats that we need. Eat them. And then our body will turn those proteins and fats into carbs. So you'll have all the energy you need. It's fantastic. And it's amazing how we have diabetes, type 1 and 2, ravaging our population, whereas having these low-carb diets, research it yourself, by the way. I'm not your physician, but research it, that especially type 2 diabetes can easily be reversed by simply getting off the nasty carbs. So trust me, It works and it works well. I talked about as far as I just won a world championship. I used to be majorly obese. It's a huge undertaking. I'm proud of myself for this, for the fact that I was certainly heading down the pathway to death. I mean, we all are, but I was getting there faster than most people, and I've lost the weight. I still have some more weight to lose, even for that matter, but I feel incredible. I don't eat carbs, and I have more energy than I ever did before because my body can regulate it easier. All right, so here's the problem. You get in a situation where you have 3 days without food or 3 weeks without food or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're not getting your proteins and fats in. So instead of actually using the protein and fats that you ate to make carbs, it'll start using your proteins and fats. Yeah, you'll start losing fat, and that's why I've lost weight, but it'll start eating away your proteins too. So like on a carnivore diet, which I'm on now, by the way, it's fantastic. You eat lots and lots and lots and lots of proteins and fats, and then your body will use those proteins you ate and turn them into energy. But if you don't have any food, it takes proteins like this, your muscles and other areas that you have proteins, breaks them down and recycles them so your body can use them. So it starts eating away you. And that's something to think about, because we're talking about long-term muscle breakdown if that's the case. And your muscles will be depleted. And the thing is, it does this all with simply just trying to make your energy for carbs. You will lose energy big time. And there's the problem with this, because at this situation now, we're talking about survival. We're not talking about just trying to diet and feel better. So in the first few days, you're going to feel fine. You're going to be hungry, obviously, but hunger is just a feeling. Who cares about feelings and pain and stuff? You know what I'm saying? That stuff you can get past. You'll start breaking down glycogen. You know, you actually have glycogen reserves from your last meal. Then you'll go into ketosis, which is basically breaking down your proteins and fats to be able to make energy. That's fine too. But as the days turn into weeks, not even just 3 weeks, mind you, but like maybe 1 week, energy is going to start becoming a big problem. Your body has a difficult time breaking down its own fats and proteins to give you energy. And let's not even talk about for the fact that if you stopped eating, you're not getting your vitamins and minerals, which are absolutely essential, which means they're required to regulate your metabolism. Your energy is going to go through the toilet. I don't care if you even try some carbs anyway. Without vitamins and minerals, you're in big trouble. So again, we're talking about all this happening in a survival situation during crap hits the fan, the time you need it the most. We're talking about 1 week. By 3 weeks, you're the last stage, just like the water, you're already done for. So it makes me laugh, and it almost makes me cry the way some of these channels talk about, you can go 3 weeks without food. Yeah, but at the end of the 3 weeks, you're going to be laying there like a slug, can't move, and somebody's going to have to spoon feed you back to life again. If you're talking about trying to take care of yourself or your family, you better find food within a week. Because at that point, you start dropping so much as far as your energy and metabolism goes, that you're going to be almost good for nothing. Your output for energy and work is going to practically be gone. So obviously, shelter and water, but you better get your accumulation of food pretty darn quick in those situations. Hopefully, you've been stockpiling food if that's the case. Stockpile lots of proteins and fats, by the way. That's the real key. But if not, man, within a few days, within a week especially, no energy, and you're going to be in big trouble. Here's the big one. 3 years without Goshen prepping. Obviously, not just Goshen prepping, but if our grid goes down, you name the reasons how this could happen. An EMP attack, a coronal mass ejection from the sun, which we are the solar maximum right now. Hopefully you've been keeping track of this. It's something we seriously need to look at. Or, some type of attack which destroys our transformers. It's estimated if the grid goes down in those situations, it's going to be down for 3 years. Frightening statistic. 3 years without power. So understand, our transformers right now are in short supply. Many of these transformers are made in China, and they've literally found code and hackable ways inside those transformers from China. You need to think about this. And being in short supply anyway, if we have a whole bunch of them burn out across the country, they're not going to be replacing them anytime soon. And guess what? Residential area, you are not in the top priority. So we're talking about no power means no grocery stores. You're not going to get food. No gas stations. You're not getting gas. No video tutorials from Goshen prepping or anything for that matter. Oh man, no Goshen prepping. What are we going to do? This is why we prepare now. Get the items you need now. Train and drill with those items now in case that happens. Because when it comes to gas and groceries, that's actually not the big concern. Violence is the big concern. Because you'll have 3 days until unrest. Have you heard the saying, it's something like there's only 9 meals between happiness and anarchy? I'm obviously not saying it verbatim, but in other words, people are fine as long as they're fed. Keep the masses fed, But once that food's gone, oh, people will start coming back. They'll get hungry, then they'll get desperate, then they will get violent. This has been shown throughout history, especially when it comes to family and kids. If you have some kind of family, like a dad, for example, whose kids are starving, you have food. Why? I don't care if you're a prep or not. Why would you get food, but I don't get any? They will get violent. So we need to prepare for shelter, water. You have to judge those two. Prepare for food, obviously. But you must also prepare for unrest, violence, and chaos. I don't even like even saying that. But this is a matter of fact. If those things happen, that's going to be the problem. We need to train and drill with weapons and self-defense. Do you? Do you already train and drill? You can't simply watch a video on how to do a self-defense and you got it down. It doesn't work that way. It takes years for my students to become a black belt. And even then, they're just like at the beginning of their journey. It's like a lifelong endeavor. And that's what it should be for you, because I want you to understand, listen to this. You can have all the food, you can have all the water you'll ever need, all that stuff. Good, I'm prepared. I'm stockpiled for decades. I'm great, right? Unless you learn to protect yourself and protect that stockpile, you'll no longer have a stockpile, but instead it'll be gone, and even your life may go with it. Think about that. It's not stockpiling, putting things away. We have priorities: shelter and water, food, self-defense, and training. You need to do this, guys. Don't be an armchair prepper. Don't be an armchair expert. You need to get onto this now, because you know what? We don't know what's happening. We don't know what's going to happen. Things may be good. You stockpiled. Great. No worries about it. You just save money on groceries. But if things go bad, and you need to be ready. So don't worry about those three numbers. The three numbers are not so important. What you need to do is look behind the lines, behind the scenes, and see what's really happening and prepare. I hope this video helped you. Put in the comments below if it did. What are your thoughts on that? And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.